Welcome to the Tech Couples podcast. I'm your go-to web developer, Andy, and this is my beautiful wife,
Sabrina, the ultimate boy mom.
We started this podcast to help you run your website better, faster, and smarter. And this week's topic is
Discussing if opening a brick and mortar store or staying online is better for your business.
fact. 90% of US retail sales still happen at a physical location. So that just means that there's still demand for people to go in person to buy a product, right? I would say that, you're definitely that one who prefers going in person, right?
Yes, that's definitely, you're right on that one. Did want to start off by saying congratulations for even getting this far, that your online business is doing successful enough that you're thinking about opening a brick and mortar. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment, right? But I will say a lot of Gen Zs do prefer that more online shopping, right? But
For sure.
like I said, more people do still like going in person, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a bit of positives and negatives, both sides. Did you want to dive a little bit into that?
Yeah, let's start with positivity, right? So the positive of staying online only, you get to keep your costs down, right? You're not paying for rent, you're not paying for heating. Depending on where you are, it might be $200 or $1,000 a square foot,
Yeah,
right, for that physical retail space, right? Cost that you'll be saving sticking to online. Another positive of online, you can work from anywhere, right?
for sure.
Yeah, we have some clients. For one example, one of our clients is an Amazon FBA seller. That means he, ships on Amazon, and he used to live in Vancouver, and now he lives in the Philippines.
Yeah, could you imagine what the rent reducing in that would be and the lifestyle changed? So, I mean, you do have that flexibility, being able to do that as well, too, if you have an online business. Also, another positivity for an online business, you can close out the store. You can answer emails the next day. Where you have a brick and mortar, you've got to stay open those long hours, those long days sometimes. So that's positivity as well there, too.
Yeah, no, there's definitely benefits of both. I would say huge benefit of a brick and mortar location is suddenly you get to have more of those physical connections, right? You get to see your customers and see how they react,
They
right?
get to touch things, they get to feel things, they get to see your interactions, your demeanor, how you respond, how you react, even touching a product. For myself, I'm definitely a person that loves to go into a store, look at it, touch it, feel it, have a communication. I'm a huge local shopper. I love shopping at our local stores. The fact that they even know us by name is because I love to go in there, build that communication, the connection. They order specific things I like. So getting to know your consumers is also a positive that way too. So
Mhm.
I would think that's a really great thing about opening a brick and mortar that way too.
Yeah, when you do have a brick and mortar location, a major positive is that, hey, you know what? Suddenly you build a lot of credibility, right? You're out there, you're a member of the community, right? People can come see you, they can see the product or service, they can see you, right? When you have your online, hey, maybe you have a beautiful landing page describing your product or service, but it's not the same as, hey, they can come see you and then actually ask you a question in person or have some sort of representative there showcasing the product, right?
For sure, definitely. So, I mean, I definitely see the both sides to the brick and mortar and the online. So, it really comes down to what is your business all about? Is it consumer based? Is it B2B based? You have to kind of dive into all these individual things before making that decision.
Yeah. Now that being said, there are definitely some challenges when you do start in brick and mortar location. And number one is definitely the cost, right? The online, you get to save on a lot of costs, right?
Yeah, definitely. You got to think about, let's example, say you're opening up a store where you need to showcase your neon lights. You need to showcase things that need to be plugged in, costing power higher than normal that you would be online just a picture plug and play. So there's those factors. Depending on where you're located, what country, what city,
Hmm.
you might have higher heating costs due to the seasons. You might have potential ACs that need to be running longer. So all those factors as well. More staffing to more employee costs, benefit packages, all those individual things that need to come with hiring employees as well as in a brick and mortar.
Yeah, no, 100%. And some of the businesses that we've worked with that transition from online only to a brick and mortar location is actually being able to manage both successfully. Because at the end of the day, if your online business is thriving and suddenly, hey, now you do want a physical location to show off your bikini line or something like that, you want to make sure that the online is still thriving. So you want to have a situation, hey, where you're starting to grow the retail end, but you don't want to sacrifice from the online fulfillment end, right? Because it's currently making money.
For sure. I mean, some people, we've even had one of our clients in the past that's decided to do that, and they pulled out some of their marketing budget from the online to be able to open that brick and mortar. And they noticed, hey, this isn't working for them. And they are like, what did we do here? Right. And then we've also had clients recently who have done that, and it actually thrived for them. So just doing your research, making sure, again, what you're selling, where you're selling, all those kind of things that come along with it.
Yeah, so some tips you want to do when you're thinking about transitioning to a brick and mortar location is you definitely do want to use the customers you do have and survey them. Ask them, hey, if there's a physical location, is that something you would be interested in?
Yep.
Right? You want to survey them, you want to get some feedback. Alternatively, instead of hey, signing a 4 or 5 year lease on a location, you can actually just do like a pop-up tent inside a mall and then get initial feedback. And that's something where you might be able to sign a 6 month lease, right? To kind of get that initial feedback of hey, what, is having a pop-up tent, is that good enough?
Yeah, you're completely right. Making sure you're checking. Hey, you know what? Is this location right? Is this a pop up tent here? Let's try it here. Okay, let's try it here. Hey, do we notice that this product or service is purchased more in which individual seasons? That's also another thing, too, depending on where you're located. Do you sell more at this time of the year versus this time of the year? So, checking up the pop ups, so recognizing maybe that the brick and mortar is right for you or pop-ups are right for you, checking all those kind of things as well. Those are good tips, Andy.
Yeah, yeah, because at the end of the day, studies do prove that people spend more money in person than they do online, right? So when you're there, you can sell them on the dream, you can sell them on the, what is the brand all about. Suddenly they can feel it a little bit more, right? So people do spend more in on average when they can actually have it in front of them.
For sure. Yeah, I would agree. Myself especially. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So and then you know what, the pandemic even showed us the importance of hey, the flexibility of having anything available, right? Actually here in Canada, we recently had a postal strike, right? So suddenly the online wouldn't work, right?
Yeah.
So then when there's a postal strike, suddenly hey, you know what, you need a physical place that people can go, and then obviously the pandemic showed us that hey, you know what, sometimes the in person is not happening and you need an online. So, I think it is possible and it is important to look into possibly a hybrid model, right? Where, hey, if you can do it in person, makes sense. But, you don't want the online to suffer because you never know how everything goes, right? So making sure you have a sustainable hybrid model, I think is the way to go.
Yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, at the end of the day, making sure you're doing your research and opening brick and mortar or staying online, kind of starting off small and seeing if you can grow from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, on closing note, I did want to say thank you for coming and listening to our podcast. So, 247 Tech Couple Podcast out.